Hello, everyone. Program. My name is Miriam Haugen. I am part of the Creativity-Hive team. We help budding videographers achieve massive post-production skills through one-on-one teaching and live group coaching. And our weekly Hangout brings you people from across the globe working in video industry. Be sure to leave a comment. Let us know you're here, where you're joining from. That would be awesome. Today I'm going to go ahead and bring him on here. Haha, Matthias.
Hi, good to see you, Miriam.
So Mathias Möhl creates video tools in AfterEffects, right? Tell us about that just a little bit.
Yeah, so with my company Mamoworld, we develop extensions for Premiere Pro, for After Effects, a little bit also Audition. But for a long time, we had a strong focus on After Effects and then expanded to Premiere Pro and the other DVA products of Adobe. And yeah, I'm doing this now since almost 10 years full time, together with my wife Andra. And before we started our company, I actually did something very different. So I worked at university. I did a PhD in bioinformatics, worked in today the good thing is with COVID, everybody has heard of RNA structures before because COVID is an RNA virus. And so I worked in this field, like developing algorithms to compare and fold RNA structures. And at that time, I did these playing around with videos in After Effects, doing my own little short films, just as a hobby. And when I met my wife Andra, it was such that I already developed a few scripts for After Effects that I shared online with other people, and I got donations from people who really loved those tools. And then Andra told me, oh, wow, you have so much positive feedback there. You need to do more in this direction. This is what you love, and this could also be something we can do full-time and that will pay our bills. And yeah, this is what we do now since roughly 10 years full time. And yeah, we absolutely both love that we decided to take this step in this direction.
So a hobby that turned into a profession. That is awesome. Okay, we have a little treat for not just the audience, but also for you, Matthias. We have a little show reel that Mo put together. And so if you want to learn how to do this kind of thing, you need to check out, Mo can teach you how to do some of this. But here we go. Let me make sure I get the right one. Ta-da.
It gives you the full power of the Premiere Pro scripting engine, but instead of writing code, you just combine blocks. Automation blocks will change the way how people work with Premiere Pro. And it will add a feature to Premiere Pro that will set it apart from all other NLEs. Thanks for watching.
Isn't that great?
Amazing, great job, Mo. So maybe as a background, I'm not sure if everybody got this. This was a show reel for my company, for myself, however you want to call it. But I've just seen it the first time myself, because in preparation for this show, Mo asked me, "Can you send me a show reel?" And I said, "Oh, I don't have one. We've got the product videos for the extensions we sell, but not a real video for myself or the company." And so Mo took all of this and, as a big surprise, compiled it all into this great video. Thank you so much, Mo.
No, I'm glad that you enjoyed it, Matthias. I wish I had a voiceover to go with it. I would have done a whole lot more, but it was a short time. I wanted it to be punchy because your scripts are super punchy. And guess what? For everyone that's watching, some of it I use Beat Edit. So what most people don't know is a few days ago I reached out to Matthias and I said, "Hey Matthias, would you send me a copy of Beat Edit?" Which he didn't even ask me a question. He just sent me a voucher and he hooked me up. And I said, "I've got to try Beat Edit out and see what I can do." And it works. Beat Edit 2, it's insane. It's seriously good. And if it wasn't good, I would tell you. It sucks. It's horrible. But it's really good. It helped me. It put the markers where it's supposed to. The beat was a little bit weird, but it actually found the beat. So that's the script I can swear. I'm going to be using it quite a bit. I'm going to still play with it. So I'm glad you enjoyed it. It was fun to put together. We're going to go to the next part later, but that's something else.
In case anybody doesn't know, Beat Edit is an extension head which analyzes the music in Premiere Pro or in After Effects or also in Audition, and then generates beat markers for it. So if you want to cut on the beat, or also in After Effects, if you need to generate keyframes and sync with the beat or whatever, if you need to animate and sync with audio, it's the tool for you.
It's the tool, which leads me to a question about that. I'm jumping way ahead of myself, but I'm going to ask you a question about that. The question is, what prompted the development of Beat Edit? I've been thinking about something like this and saying, hey, these beats, and because I'm a sound engineer as well, it becomes a pain in the behind because you have to look at the waveform and drop and put your markers and so forth. And I thought to myself, when will someone be clever enough to think of this thing? Because I don't code this kind of stuff. And I saw Beat Edit, and I saw it splashed everywhere on A scripts and certain other sites that you're not supposed to look at. And, people are doing stuff with it, and you know what I'm talking about. So eventually I said, let me look at it closely. And I played around with it a little bit, and I thought it was quite interesting that somebody actually took somebody had the thought to actually put it together. So what was the motivation behind getting that script expressions and well, that kind of, I would call it almost a plugin. It's so powerful.
Yeah, technically it's an extension, right? And it's way more than a script because there is a full binary running in the background doing the beat detection process. But the technical details are probably not that interesting. What's interesting is, I think for most products I develop, it's a combination of feedback from others and the personal pain I feel when doing a certain work. And here it was mostly the second part, that I don't do very much video editing. Most of my work is really either doing tutorials or the biggest part doing the development of the tools. But I also do stuff like editing promo videos for the products. And during these process, and also for the private videos I did before, I always liked to cut and sync with the music. And I always had this painful step: first choose your music, then play the music back and hit a key on your keyboard and sync with the beat just to get those markers. And it always feels like these are 3 minutes of your time that do a really boring job. This is not the creative part of video editing. This is just the part that you want to get rid of. And these are always the things I look for. Where are parts that you can eliminate, that you cannot really eliminate the creative part, but you can eliminate all the tedious stuff around it. And so I just got this idea, this is something that could be automated. And so I came up with this tool. And this was actually way earlier than when the tool was developed, because when I got the idea, I did some research and looked at the Premiere Pro scripting engine and noticed at that point in time, it was not able to create beat markers. So the product had to wait for like 2 years until the Premiere Pro scripting engine evolved enough to support these features I needed to implement it. And then after those features were there, it came then pretty quickly.
Well, one thing I love about it is I can hardly ever get my fingers to hit the exact point of the beat if I'm trying to edit along with it. And so when I was trying to do things where I was cutting to the music, if I'm trying to trim in line, I've been around, let's say, someone like Christine Steele when she's doing it, and she is so incredibly fast and intuitive at exactly how much ahead of the beat she has to press the keyboard to get it so that the program will get the thing right. And I can never get that dead on. And she's going, "Oh, you just do this, this, and this, and this."
Oh,
I
yeah,
can't do
right.
it, and I am never going to have that skill. So Beat Edit is awesome because it just lays it out for me, and then I can just do my cuts to the beats that are already marked there.
Sometimes it doesn't even need to be yourself. It could also be your machine. Like I know this, you set the markers manually, and then you don't have maybe the most powerful machine, and it freezes for a few milliseconds, and then, oh, this beat is off again. And this doesn't happen if you let the AI do it for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll leave it to Miriam and Neil for a second. I'm just going to be uploading something to Miriam. I want them to play something for you, right?
Oh my goodness!
I found absolutely cool, Matthias, and I don't really find things cool in a hurry. So I'm going to put something up in a folder. We use Lucid Link, which is really great. I'm sure you know about it. So I'm going to put something up there. I'm dropping a video for you, Miriam, in a second.
Okay. Wow. He likes to surprise me and do something on the fly.
Yeah, you can. It should be in there. It's there now already. Should sync up in a second. And I'd like you to play it because I think it was one of the cleverest things I've seen in a long time. And today you don't see clever stuff in a hurry. It's there. It's the very first file. If you could share it with the viewers. I didn't know this was there until Matthias led me to it. I'm not going to tell you what it's called because I want Matthias to be surprised, but he'll see it immediately.
I see.
Yeah, so
the files how Beat Edit. Okay, let me bring it into StreamYard here. Give me a moment because it's going to play much better if I can.
No idea what's going on.
I know you don't. I didn't even know this was going to happen. I got it now, and I said I have to put it up.
Okay,
because it's so cool.
We'll get it. Keep visiting. It'll be just a moment.
So I think on Beat Edit, the metronome, a lot of people, like Neil said, it's so difficult to tap, and that's a hint for what's coming up. Tap. If you remember that, yes, it's coming up on screen shortly. If you're an engineer and you work with, DAWs, and the metronome, and the metronome becomes second nature, and your finger just does it. But we'll see how a finger actually taps in a second.
I have it ready here.
Time, it's a strange thing. When you're doing something for years, eventually it becomes part of your life. I'm sitting at my desk, and when the music plays, inevitably my finger starts moving. I miss that distinct and familiar feel of my finger touching the M key. But time goes by, and eventually, I'll get used to it. But I have to face the reality. The reality that manually generating markers in sync with the music, well, it's a thing of the past.
Oh, very cool.
Yes, cool concept. I just love it. What's the story behind that? I mean, I thought it was
the story of this video is really just the personal pain I described that motivated me to create this video. This was my way of expressing this pain and communicating it in the most intense way possible. Essentially, that's why we created. This was still for Beat Edit version 1. Now, since a while, we've got Beat Edit version 2 out. It's amazing how you digged out all these different videos that have been around there for a while, but probably went unnoticed for most of our customers.
Yeah, it's I noticed well, hopefully until now. I mean, it's great. Well, for Beat Edit 2, what you should do is you should do a video of a similar nature, but get the person to age from a kid into an old man marking like this. Let me know if you want that age progression done in visual effects. We do some face tracking and stuff like that. But Beat Edit's really, really. And I enjoy the fact that you said that if it upsets you to kind of your workflow is difficult to follow because of something that's causing you strife or grief, you want to make it easier. And I've looked at all of your tools: Auto Lip Sync, Beat Edit, Easy Bounce, Mocha Import Pro, plus pins and boxes, Squash and Stretch, and Text Explorer, eye expressions, and there's APIs. And I tell you, it's such a lovely melting box of tools. And I watch people release tools and scripts and extensions and plugins all the time, and there's a myriad of them out there, and there's most of them don't give too much thought about how user-friendly it needs to be. If it's going to be used more than once, or have a plugin and script UI folder like that looks like mine and 7,000 scripts in it that I never use, it's just a novelty of the day, or is it stuff that actually can be put to use on a daily basis? And which I find from yours, every single one of your scripts is something that can fit into a motion graphic designer's toolbox, a visual effects artist's toolbox, a post-production editor's toolbox. So it's useful. So I think you guys have given a lot of thought behind the tools you create. And that's why you don't have 700 tools. You have a certain limit, but you give every ounce of your sweat, blood, and your tears to that particular script. So who is Mamoworld? By the way, I'm also Mamo. You stole my name, but we'll talk after the show about that. So who is Mamoworld? Do you guys have an office? Is it like big glass buildings with a big logo on it, neon lights and green screens, or is it just a group of 2 or 3 people, or is it you and your wife that are doing it from, I'd like a little bit of history, if possible.
It's essentially just me and my wife doing this full time now since about 10 years, and collaborations with different freelancers, mostly for doing the promo videos, but also for like proofreading the newsletter, creating tutorials for us, stuff like this. But the development is fully my focus, and I do it alone. And I really enjoy this because it gives you a lot of flexibility, and you can you don't lose a lot of time in discussions. And if you program in a team, there's a lot of friction. We tried to scale this up at some point, and it never really worked. I saw after that the benefits of this much clearer. And my wife is mostly concerned of the marketing and business aspects of this. So I'm very happy that I don't need to deal with all these things, and Andra can take care of this. I also want to say something about, because you said our tools are so well thought through that they fit into workflows. I think this is nothing that is just, it's not just a question of putting effort into this or being aware of this. I think it's really at the core of what we want to contribute to the community, because I feel when you want to solve a certain task and you use, in this case now, for example, the Premiere Pro scripting API or the AfterEffects scripting API, then the API suggests you a certain way of doing it, and this like forces a certain workflow for the user. And this workflow is not really usually what the motion designer wants to have. So it's like the developers come from one side, from the technical side, how After Effects is implemented, and they need to get something done. And the designer comes with kind of a vision, and you need to connect those two. And often you need to go a pretty long way to do this. So I have a very simple example. I hope it's simple. It's still a bit technical. Mocha Import Plus is for tracking, right? So you go to the Mocha tracking software and track like how something in the background is moving in your video. Now you've got the 4 corner points, for example, of a phone screen that you tracked. And now you export this tracking data from Mocha to After Effects the normal way. You choose 4 corner points in Mocha and export this data in After Effects. And now what's the obvious way to apply this in After Effects? Well, you take those 4 corners, the keyframes, and do with them whatever you want, like doing a corner pin, moving a layer, whatever. But now my point is I say, okay, typically these 4 corners that you export they are not always the right points. Often in the middle of the process, you notice, I should move this point here a little bit. And then the developer says, the software developer, okay, we know the process, you get the points from Mocha, so please go back to the Mocha software, correct your points there, and then you get new results and you need to re-import everything into After Effects. But now my job is to think about the designer wants something else. He wants to move those points in After Effects. Why shouldn't he be able to do it? And then is the technical person says again, well, that's a lot of work because, okay, in theory, if you think about the mass of the problem, you've got 4 points and they move, but from the movement of these 4 points, you can calculate the movement of any other points in the same plane. But it's not obvious to do it. It's a lot of math going on to calculate the movement of other points. And so this is really where I see the value of our tools, that I say, okay, we do all this math. We don't try to make the implementation of the tools simple, but we try to make, to go the extra mile to translate like what is easy for the developer to what is easy for the end user, essentially. And I think this is...
After all those years that I've been attending the live National Association of Broadcasters, the NAB shows in Vegas, and getting a chance to talk with the engineers there for Premiere Pro and After Effects and all, yeah, your thing of going to the engineers is yes, but that's a very complicated thing, and you can just go back and do it that way, and that's fine. That is such an engineering approach to it, and when you're the user, that you're just sitting there going, no, that is not the solution I want to hear. And that's what you do, is you provide the solutions that actually make it work and fast and make it a lot more fun. That's one of Mo's big emphasis that he's brought to Creativity-Hive is it's got to be fun. This whole thing's got to be fun, or why bother to do it? And you get rid of a lot of the junk in the process so that it's fun to do again.
Yeah, I think it's also a lot about hiding complexity. For example, if you think about our tool Squash and Stretch, from the user's perspective, it's just a simple preset system. You choose one of like 60 different animations and say, I want my text, I want my image to move in this or that way. And you click apply and it's doing exactly this. Then you could wonder, why wouldn't you just use After Effects presets for this? They are just this, right? Canned animations that you can directly apply. But the problem is or the reason probably why nobody before did such a preset system for animations that have Squash and Stretch is because it's very tough to apply the same Squash and Stretch behavior, I call them, or animation, to different layers. So if you, for example, if you animate a text and you have a letter a W, which is very wide, and you have a letter I, which is very thin and high, and you just apply the exact same animations to both of them, it will not look good. It's like they have very different, in the real world, they have very different physics, so to speak. They should behave very differently. And so in the background, Squash and Stretch is doing a ton of things to like tailor the animation it includes to different kinds of layers, different sizes, different aspect ratios, stuff like this. And the great thing is, normally I don't talk about it at all. You don't find anything of this in the product description. It's just like, don't worry, you apply this animation and it will look good. So hiding the complexity will support your creativity, so to speak.
100%. 100%. The one thing I couldn't dig out, Mathias, but I'm going to find it. I promise you I'm going to find it, is your short film. So I reached out to Stu and to Daniel Hashimoto, who are doing the Red Giant stuff. And I said, where is Mathias's short film as a PhD student? I want to see that 13mm film that you shot. I
I'm
want to
sorry,
see this
I'm
film.
missing this. What do you mean with short form?
You said you created a short film with a few friends when you were doing
the short film. The short film. I'm sorry.
Yes, the short
film.
film.
Yes.
I want to
yes.
dig that out somewhere, and well, I'm going to make it as public as humanly possible, knowing me. And I want to see how it was shot. I know it was quite a while back. You were still a student and so on. But I'm pretty interested to see what the creative eye behind that was. It would be interesting to see.
It's called
Which brings me,
Ansichtssache, but it's a German. It's just there's no English version of it, so I'm not sure. It's
telling me that is like I might Google some beer. It sounds like a beer to me in German, so I don't know. So you can send me that link. It'll be great to see. You know, I looked up all the stuff you did in your past. I mean, you came from a really interesting background with your bioinformatics background and computer science and so forth, and computational linguistics, which has led you to where you are quite at the present moment. What do you foresee for the future of, I'm going to call it your company, because it is, in my opinion, it's seriously a company. It has great potential, and I see it going really far, because I haven't seen too many people that think out of the box in the manner that you do. Where do you see yourself and the wife taking this? Is it going to go through the stratosphere? Are you going to get bought out by Adobe, hopefully someday, for 17 billion, like another unnamed company who I will not talk on air about? Well, anyway, it's the I and the O's at the end of it. But so what do you foresee, or do you just pretty much just want to continue doing what you do?
Actually, I want to continue what I'm doing currently. It worked for the last 10 years. I have no idea for how many more years it will work, but I see a lot of benefits of this approach. So it's to some kind intentionally that we don't grow very much. We could invest more in more collaborations, doing more active marketing for our products, doing, maybe even, I said we had some thoughts about extending our development team also. And what I really love about the current situation is I do a lot of things I really like. I like the programming. I like the designing the products. I don't find it super exciting to manage a big team of people. And I like selling my company and joining whatever company might buy the software or whatever would not be my goal at all, because I feel it would just limit my flexibility. Flexibility is really, really important for me. So I feel like I'm working quite a lot, but I can focus on the stuff I really want to work on without discussing this also with too many people. We have very little friction in our work. It's like it's so great if you have an idea, like with our newest tool, Automation Blocks. I got this idea, I pitch it to my wife, and she says, "Wow, this is exciting," and then problem solved. We can start working on it.
There's no big boss to get approval from, right? Yeah.
Right. And it's not like you go up 3 levels in the hierarchy and then at this level somebody says, okay, maybe later or something.
Yeah. It's so frustrating. There are a lot of benefits to being your own boss and being small. And yes, Neil and I are very familiar with the pitching it to you have something you want to do, and so you make a pitch, but it's to your spouse.
Yeah, right.
So Miriam at times has been a very hard sell, by the way.
I'm going, sure, right.
She looks at the dollars on something and goes,
because right. What does usually it involves some new piece of equipment and $30,000 monitor or something. Yeah, right.
For Andra and me, it's often like, I find this super exciting, and she says it's too technical, or it's like it's too much only for the experts. The user base is not big enough if you do a tool that is super amazing, but only for the absolute.
Okay, so you don't own Mamoworld, so you just work there. Andrew's the brains behind. I always wondered, what's going on. So you just script and she's put you in a dark. I'm sure you have a dark room Maybe you're in that dark room right now. And she just leaves you there for like 17 hours a day, feeds you, and then tells you, okay, come up with an idea. You come up with 7, and she says, but I told you, if you come up with more than 1, you're not getting dinner tonight. So here's a piece of toast. Okay, we get it. We know who's the boss. Next interview, Miriam, let's schedule Andrew, please, for this.
It's almost like this, except that we never have too little ideas. It's like
great.
She says you need to come up with so many ideas. It's rather the opposite. We always need to.
I think it's fantastic that you have this anti-corporate sentiment, so to speak. And it's very refreshing to find today. And a lot of guys.
I don't think that this other model is bad. It's like a software at the scale of Premiere Pro or After Effects. You cannot do it in any different way than they are doing it, and they're doing a great job with. And also, like my communication with Adobe is great. It's like if I have some issues, I know how to talk to in the Premiere Pro team and the After Effects team, and it's not like you go through a big support hierarchy there or something. They do a
tomorrow,
great job.
Adobe knocks on your door and asks Andrew to let them into the cave that you're in, and says to you, and you see Patrick walk in, and then you see I forget his name again. I keep forgetting his name. Neil, the CEO of Adobe, is
Francis, one of the guys.
No, the CEO, Shantanu, right? So Shantanu walks in as well.
Yes.
He flies in from wherever, and he walks in and knocks on the door and says, Mathias, I want to give you $15 billion for Mamoworld, but you will answer to me. And Patrick, what would you say? What would you say? I know what Andrew would say, but what would you say?
I would say
15 billion.
50 billion is unrealistic. If you would
let's
say,
call it $1 billion. $1 billion. US dollars, $1 billion. Would you sell your soul? Would you sell your soul?
It would be very tough for me to give all of this up. I have to. I mean, this is an amount of money that I would think about definitely. But
so Shantanu comes back.
I think money is one aspect of life, and
he goes to McDonald's around the corner, and he comes.
I'm going to bring you here because you touched on automation blocks, and this is a new, and we have a video to show about that. Do you want to, would this be a good time to talk about automation blocks? Do you have any intro that you want to?
Definitely. So automation blocks is I think, the exciting thing we have to mention first is this is the first time I talk about this publicly. We have a beta running since
breaking
a few months.
News.
Right. I thought when I come to the show, I need to also tell stuff nobody knows yet, and this is hopefully something that falls in this category if you're not a beta tester. And it's a new tool. The teaser we have is for Premiere Pro, but the tool will come for Premiere Pro and for After Effects. And our plan is to release a public beta also this year, and it should go for a longer period of time. So probably for a few months, such that we can collect a lot of feedback, but you can also play around with it and see what it can do. It's a very comprehensive tool, and it has definitely a learning curve. But one that we tried, it's like if you ever wanted to develop your own extensions and you feel like I'm not a programmer at all, but I want to automate some of my workflows. We try to go, what I described before, is taking something very technical and turning it into something new that a designer can work with. This is the idea here for now do exactly this with the entire scripting engine of Premiere Pro and After Effects. So this is automation blocks.
Wow. Okay, let's take a look at this.
Automation blocks is an extension for Adobe Premiere Pro, which makes automating anything you want in Premiere Pro super easy. It gives you the full power of the Premiere Pro scripting engine, but instead of writing code, you just combine blocks. This script creates a bin with name footage in your current project. Maybe when you start a new project, you always want to create certain bins. So it just duplicates the block and adjusts the folder names. If we run the script, all these bins are created for us. This script looks at all footage items in the bin footage, and if they are used in any sequence so far, it moves them to this sub-bin. Maybe you don't want to move the used footage items, but just want to give them a different label color. So we just take out the Move Project Item block and replace it by the Set Label Color block. Now, with a single click, all the labels of your used footage update. This script first asks you for the beats per minute of your song and then writes beat markers in your timeline. And this script gives every fourth marker of your timeline a different color. YouTube has this great new feature to break up a video into chapters. And here is a script that exports Premiere Pro markers into the format you need to add them as chapters to your YouTube videos. Scripting code can quickly become hundreds of lines of code, but it's a different story with automation blocks. Because I say, if it cannot be done with 10 blocks, nobody will do it. So we created all these high-level blocks that keep away from you all these nasty details and allow you to focus just on what you want to achieve and not the details how. This single block syncs a folder on your hard drive with the bin of your project. If you choose subfolders include, it recreates the entire folder structure inside the project and imports all footage it finds, and even deals with image sequences properly. If you change the content of your folder later, just run the script again. It will only import any new footage and don't re-import a second time what is already in the project. Another big topic is rendering. Maybe you want to export a still image at each marker? Or you want to render each clip that has been used in your sequence as a separate file. Oh, and maybe you want to add 1-second handles for the in and out points? Sure, let me just add this for you real quick. Maybe your project uses some motion graphics templates and you need to translate them all to German. This block searches through all Morgurts in your active sequence and replaces the text My Title by Mein Titel. Just one click and the template text updates. Maybe you have your translations in a spreadsheet? Sure, let's just put this inside a spreadsheet block, and now for each row of the spreadsheet, the text in the first column is replaced by the text in the second one. Again, one click and our text updates based on the spreadsheet data. Automation blocks will change the way how people work with Premiere Pro. And it will add a feature to Premiere Pro that will set it apart from all other NLEs. Thanks for watching.
That is great.
Wow. I was sitting here going, oh,
Neil
total
wants it now.
hyperventilation. I hate the organizational stuff. I just finished my Adobe Max presentation on Thinking Like a Colorist, session 565, and Mo has one on Mogurts. He gets a full hour. I only got a half an hour. But one of the things that I do stress in that is that in order to get anything done quickly, you have to have a well-organized project. And I hate the organizing process. I have to do it, but I hate it. And holy moly, I mean, wow. Organization done automatically, fast. Yeah, we like that.
Yeah, and customized, not like the tool gives you one workflow that use it or don't use this tool. It's like you need to get used to work with those blocks.
I thought I was actually going crazy because I thought I was split in two between Nuke and Photoshop. So it was like node-based editings and layers together. And I'm like, holy God. It's seriously powerful. It's got endless possibilities, and I think it's going to be a smashing hit for a lot of people. It's pretty well thought of. How long has it been in development for?
So full-time since the beginning of this year, and a lot of sorts. And it's like I always have a certain period of time where the tools work in my mind, where I think about the concepts, and then it's like once you start actually implementing, you commit to go in a certain direction. And this happens since after Christmas, essentially. So since like the beginning of this year.
Very clever, super clever. I see a lot of people are doing this because the scripts are getting more complex. People are writing more expressions. It's AfterEffects is starting to finally, and Premiere Pro with the introduction of Mogurts and extended script, it's starting to flourish and become what it was originally meant to be. The tech is now on the hardware, and the software are combining to eventually become what everyone envisioned it to actually manage. Before, you were held back, like Beat Edit was held back for a long time because of constraints. And now those constraints are pretty much falling away. I mean, with the beta of After Effects and Premiere, it's insane. It's actually insane. I saw it today. After Effects, Premiere Pro, beta, and you watch Mogit's render on their time. It's incredible what they did with the engine. Adobe didn't pay me to say this, but they're doing a really great job. And because they're supporting the scripting community, I think that's also very important. That's allowing people to develop this sort of stuff. So well done. I'm really loving what I see so far. Hoping to use it at some point when it's being released, and I think it'll fit very well into Neil, especially will dig it completely.
Well, this kind of fits in with some of the stuff that I've been arguing with the engineers about, because of course over in After Effects you have the pick whip to connect one layer of your project or your comp, as it's called there, to another step in the comp, and I've been arguing that they ought to put a pick whip in the Lumetri. Because you got the various tabs of Lumetri, which are just processing steps like a comp and AE, and that they should put a pick whip on the left side so that you could drag it up to where you want this one to get its input from, and put a pick whip on the right side so then you could say where you want the output of this particular tab to go. So you could have the tabs in any order you want. The engineers look at me with that kind of a suggestion and go, they don't even find it humorous. It's just like, you're insane. And I go, well, but they do it over in After Effects. The After Effects guys are standing back there just smiling. But you do the kind of stuff that essentially gets around that whole thing with the engineers. And wow, I loving it.
I think when it comes to the workflows, it will really open a lot of doors there, that there's this constant need to customize to your own workflow. This is like, you don't always have to ask the After Effects or the Premiere Pro team to implement this or that for you. If these are just the little things, now you can do it yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is great.
Miriam,
I love the fact that you just have your finger on the pulse of what the what the users really need. And so it sounds like the two of you make a really great team. And so where are you at in Germany?
We are living in Rügen. That's the biggest German island in the Baltic Sea, actually.
Oh.
And my office is not in Rügen. Rügen is connected to Germany with a bridge, and at this bridge is Stralsund. And I'm here in my office in Stralsund now. It's like 3 hours from Hamburg.
Okay, that's awesome.
In the very north east of Germany.
So you go to the office each day and do your kind of
not really. I have it's actually it's a little bit more complicated than that. I also have an office in our house in Rügen, but we are in the process of moving to Stralsund, which we'll probably do next year, because our kids will start going to school then, and we've got here the better schools here in Stralsund. And so at the moment, we've got here our flat that we use as the office, and we've got our house in Rügen, where we mostly live, and where I also have a little office space. And I like to come here for like 2 days each week, working as much as I can and without any distraction, and fully focusing on the work. And then the remaining days of the week I spend in Rügen. And there I also work, but not as intense as I do it here when I'm all alone.
Yeah, it can be tough to stay in the zone when you're at home. There's nice things being able to work for a little bit and then
we actually planned to move earlier, and then COVID came and we postponed our plans to move, and now we are in the state of having these two places where we live essentially, but I really enjoy it for the work to have this space where I can fully focus.
Well, it's interesting. You brought up family, which is something that we wanted to have a kind of little chat with you about. But we're not going to chat with you about it initially. We're gonna show you something, and then perhaps you can give us a little bit of a background on what this is all about. So we've kind of put something together for you.
So
hope you enjoy it.
Mo did another little what do I call it? Video.
I guess
that-
it must be related to the
render.
image you asked me to send the images.
Yeah,
you asked
Right,
it was,
Matthias
yes,
hasn't
it was.
seen
Yeah,
this.
it was
So this
the
will be-
images, correct.
This will be fun, but it's a little bit the man behind the company.
Behind the memo.
There's no words to say it, but I'll find them over time. There's no way to show it, but I'm gonna try for the rest of my life. 'Cause you are the best part of me, the side I hope everyone sees, the air that I breathe, I'm missing peace, wasn't complete before you. 'Cause you are the best part of me. My daylight sky blue, my greener grass on the other side. It's just the simple truth. All that was wrong, you made it right. 'Cause you are the best part of me, the side I hope everyone sees, the air that I breathe, I'm missing peace, wasn't complete before you. 'Cause you are the best part of me.
Aww.
Wow.
This was this was truly moving. I mean, I knew all the pictures that I've sent you, but it's amazing what you made out of this. And all the
I'm glad. It was pretty special to make. I thanks for giving us the privilege to look a little bit deeper into your life and your family. So I'm happy that you enjoyed it. I will send you a copy. Absolutely.
yeah, definitely that would
Yeah.
be amazing. Yeah, if I guess it was obvious from the video. So I've got two kids, Jonas and Nora, and this video was a lot about Jonas, even more than it was about me and the rest of the family. Jonas is 6 years old now, and he has Down syndrome, and he was also born with a severe heart defect. And as you can imagine, this has put our family after his birth to some kind of emergency state, and we thought it's a good idea to also discuss here this, because I think this shows about people behind the tools, or in my case, the tools. So this is definitely a big part of my life during the last years. And the good news is, like, it's much better now than it was 6 years ago. So the story with Jonas was such that yeah, in the first 6 months of his life, we spent more time in hospitals than at home. He had his heart surgery, and after that, for 1 year, he was not able to eat. He needed a feeding tube from the moment he was born to grow as fast as possible to be ready for his surgery. And after the surgery, he simply forgot, or he never experienced what it means to swallow food. So it took 1 year for us to feed him every day with this tube and exercise to swallow food again and stuff. This was a very hard time for us. But after that, it got way more normal. So what also was the difficulty, not that bad, but also a pretty big difficulty for us, is he had a very weak immune system, and it was like he got one pneumonia after the next one, and it was so bad in winter that the doctor said to us, the cold climate in northern Germany, he will have these issues each winter, and he will need a lot of hospital stays and stuff like this. And now comes one connection to our company that I wanted to talk about. And I mentioned how I enjoyed the flexibility that I have with our company. And one thing we could do, for example, we could say, Jonas is not feeling well in this climate, so let's move in the winter somewhere else. So for 2 winters, we've spent the entire winter not in Germany, but on the Canary Islands, where it's very warm in winter. And so this was one of the moments where I realized how beneficial it is to have a job that offers you this flexibility. And where this was even more important was during the first 6 months, where we spent so much time in hospitals, and we've seen so many other families being in a similar situation. If you are in these highly specialized hospitals doing these heart surgeries, you meet all kinds of other families, and we noticed a very big deal for many of them was, well, one has to earn the money. So, and these hospitals are, in our case, they were like 800 kilometers away from our home. It's not a distance you travel like every day. And this was for many people there, that the family is broken apart. Yeah, the one is like the mother is in the hospital, the father is somewhere else working, and you change during these times. You are not the same person after you went through all of this. And if you're separated during this time, it's a big issue. And during this time, I worked a lot in the hospital, just in the waiting room, sitting there with my laptop. And I felt that this was a big reason that got us even closer together than before, so as a family. And this was actually the main thought I want to share about. So this was about our family and how it's connected to our company. That on the one hand, it was a very tough time. On the other hand, when we founded our company years before Jonas was born, I was worried about risks, right? Financial risks. It's just like you leave a stable job in university for something that you have no idea if you will manage to pay your bills with this. And I saw a lot of risk, and I didn't see the benefits so much. And now my new perspective after all the experience with Jonas is really, there are different kinds of risks. There's a financial risk, but jobs also have this risk of really harming your family if they have too many constraints, too many time constraints, location constraints. And so today I feel really privileged to have such a flexible job where we could, in these very tough times that are now mostly over, fortunately, we could be very flexible. And yeah, we're really grateful for this.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, the university might not have been so amenable to you just moving to the Canary Islands for the winter months. But with this, you can do it from anywhere. That's wonderful.
Yeah, right.
We are all strong family people, Miriam and I, Mo and his wife and their little one. And so we're all wrapped up in little ones. Miriam and I have several grandchildren now, and another on the way. And so we watch things like that, and we just start crying because whoa, the little ones, they're so important. And it's always wonderful to be around other people that see the importance of spending the time with the family, besides the wonderful things that we get to do with all this. I mean, you've created so many incredible things, but that your focus is still so heavily on your family says a lot of what we think would be very good about you.
Thank you. Yeah, this is probably one of the toughest balances for everybody, at least if you think about it, if you don't just let it happen, but think about the balance between family and work. It's always so tough. So I feel like I work a lot. Maybe I work too much, but the good thing is really in these bad situations, it's so valuable if you can just change this and for a certain amount of time just work less and focus on your family.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
I think that's a sorry, you guys lost me a little bit earlier, but it's a great point of view that you have on family, and I think you've done an amazing job balancing what you do together with having to support Jonas and what he's going through, and you've done a brilliant job. It was actually a delight working with your images, because I saw from a creative perspective the progression. It told me a story, and that's how I wanted to develop that. And this is why we're here. That sort of whatever, that little video that we put together is something that we want to kind of instill in people out there, to show them that creativity. I mean, if you look at your promo video and then you look at this, it's chalk and cheese. It's two different types of things, but it can be done. And this is where we want to bring the fun back and the emotion back into video editing, into visual effects, into motion graphics. Because there's so much of noise out there, and we want to kind of make people understand, hey, it's still fun, but it needs to tell a story. The story is the most important. The stories have been lost, unfortunately. They focus on just shooting anything and just putting it out there and putting some music to it, and yeah, fine. But let's tell the story is what it's all about. So it was great to get the opportunity to work on a little story like it. And that's why I bugged you with so many mails about I need more photographs, because I knew what I had in my mind's eye, and I knew you didn't know what I was talking about. I'm like, poor Mathias, I'm bugging him more. But Mathias being this busy.
I think we have to explain this a bit more. It was like Mo said, can you send me a few family pictures? I want to do something. And the story with Jonas, I roughly sketched a little bit. You felt it's interesting. And then I picked a few pictures and sent them to you. And then I got an email back, well, can you send a few more? I have to talk to Andra, which other pictures I'm allowed to share and stuff. And then we've sent some more. Okay, just two more. Yeah, now I'm glad I've sent all those pictures.
Yeah, and then I said,
so much
it's absolutely a pleasure, And then I sent Mathias and I said to him, these are the pictures, and I had labeled them 1 to however many, and Mathias took the time to reorder them in his mail, and he says, this is the first one, and that's 15 is number 1 now, and 12 is number 2, and I was sitting there and I'm like, just when I thought it's over, now Mathias does this to me. Okay, the whole AfterEffects project changed in a blink of an eye. So on the final render, it was almost a 5.5-hour render. Which finished it started at 2 a.m. this morning, by the way. So I said, no, oh my God, even with AfterEffects beta, it's fine. I don't trust it. Let me just get to bed. And when I got up and I looked at it, and then I put it on the Premiere timeline, and I decided on what sort of music to use for it, I thought to myself, it needs to be a little bit emotional, and it's kind of a gift, I would call it, from us to you, that you can show Jonas at some point. Just a little bit of, and the funny thing with us, my wife saw it, because she's my biggest critic, right? So I'll like come here and she's like, oh God, again. And so she's like, just have a look at it, and she's like, yeah, well, what about my child? And I'm like, oh my God, what have I done to myself?
You're doing this for other people. Do it.
I haven't done it for my own little one, and our little 1-year-old now took 7 years to arrive. So she's like, and I've got like 50,000 pictures to go through because she just
Oh,
takes
yeah.
pictures all the time. So I'm like, I'm dreading it, but it actually has inspired me to do that, because I can see just how important it actually is to build that sort of memories for your family and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really important.
That's your next assignment, Mo, is you need to create one for your little girl, and we'll share that.
Well,
But
we're gonna talk to Mathias about doing some of his promo stuff in a different way. We'll chat some more later.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have more of Mathias on here.
Yeah, I
But
think we
thank
need to get
you.
you back, Mathias. I think we need to seriously get you back and concentrate on a few of the some of your products and how they work specifically.
I've been through a few of them, and it will be hard to just pick a few to go into, because there's so many of them that are just so fantastically useful.
So I just need to say one more thing, and this is I got so many presents today. Mo has cut a show reel for me and has cut a family animation for me, and it totally blew my mind how much effort you've put into all of this. I've got a little present for all the brave people who attended the live show here. I've got a 10% off coupon code if you want to. If you now got excited about any of our products, it's just for about 24 hours. I have to check. It will expire on tomorrow midnight Eastern time. So about a little bit more than 24 hours. If you're interested, take a look at it. But how can I share this?
Okay. Can you put it in the comments?
Can I can. Sorry. It's just it's in the private chat now. I can also read it just out loud. Creativity-Hive 10.
Okay.
Is the code. CITYHIVE 10.
That's cool.
Can you share it somehow? Maybe I can.
Yes, I
can. I can put it in my name.
There it is.
Right. So if you go to AEscripts, put any Mamoworld products in your shopping cart. It's only we sell all our products on AEscripts. We didn't mention this before, right? So on AEscripts, just search for the Mamoworld products, and you get on any of those with this coupon code in the next 24 hours a 10% discount.
24 hours. Get on it.
Okay,
That's
so
great.
So let's put the AEscripts direct link to your stuff up as well. I think that's also in the private chat, so you can direct people to that. So some people might not know what AEscripts is. That's been really fantastic. Mathias, I've been really interested to meet you because, as I said, I kept bugging you and saying, I'm going to pick your brain. There's not enough time to pick your brain. So we're going to do Mathias part 2, the return of Mathias. So if I do a little, I'm going to do something with a picture you sent me. It's going to go on social media. I'm going to take a little bit of creative freedom. It's a bit of a surprise. It's the picture of you and Jonas at the. Don't tell him. It's the one.
I see. I have to come back. I want to see this.
You're going to see it on social media tomorrow, probably.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just a picture. It's just a still, but it'll have a little music attached to it, and it's the one that you guys are on your paddle ski or the canoe in the water, right?
I see.
Don't even ask me what I'm going to do with Miriam. Miriam knows, but it's really great, and hopefully the next time we get you here, you can bring him on screen as well. It would be lovely to say hello to him. Yes.
And Nora too. Let's not leave her out.
Both of them. Yeah, family.
It's just like the time slot fits not so well with their sleeping schedule.
See,
right.
I guess if I would manage to keep him awake, he would not be in a good mood at this time.
That's not good. Well, we really need to wrap things up, guys. This has been so much fun. We just could talk forever. But I think we will see you next time.
Thank you. Really enjoyed the time here. And I'm looking forward to part 2.
All right.
So are we.
Thank you.
Stay right where you are, Mathias.